Hello, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Good to be with you and just offer this beautiful truth and teachings and offerings today. Good to have you, and I feel you watching it already, even though it hasn't happened. But you're watching it now, so thank you. Today we're just talking about the importance of sleep and how primal or important that first 60 to 90 minutes is when you first wake. And that's why a lot of practices are offered or suggested to be doing that in that first waking period, that first hour of waking. Multiple reasons, energetic, mental, and emotional, and physical. We're going to cover all of them. But just know, there's many different videos you could look up on YouTube, or doctors or reference points or naturopaths or anybody are involving the healthiness of sleep, right? There are many things that happen in our system, our biological system, during the point of rest don't happen in our waking hours. There are certain hormones that get released based on your depth of sleep. Whether you're in REM sleep or how many hours you've done. I've committed to myself to get a minimum of 7 hours a night. And so the days maybe I wake up at 3 o'clock to do the teachings with you or the classes, because at 6 a.m. LA time or 9 a.m. East Coast time, I need to adjust for that to make sure that I'm getting enough sleep. And I found that it isn't 7 hours that I feel I need, but knowing now what I know about the biological part of my system, because I'm good with 4, I'm good with 5, I'm good with 6, but the point is at 7 hours is when the benefits really kick in, similar to fasting, where the real benefits of fasting don't kick in until you're at that 12-hour mark of fasting. So you could fast for 8 hours, you could fast for whatever, and that really might benefit the discipline that you have. But the cellular difference and change and microbiome shift and autophagy release, ketosis, all begins building or releasing or shifting at a minimum of 12 hours. And so this 7-hour sleep model is kind of like that. I'm not saying to sleep only for 7 hours. I'm saying a minimum of 7 hours. And so if you're somebody that wrestles to go to sleep, or somebody that likes to have a little time of waking up in the morning, then maybe give yourself an 8 hours on the time clock, that 10-3-1 thing we talked about at the beginning of the Diamond Heart Project, where it's 10 hours of caffeine-less before sleep, 3 hours of food, and 1 hour of no screen time before you sleep. Maybe put your sleep window for 8 hours, because it might take you a half an hour to get into it, and then maybe you want a half an hour to kind of come out of it, but 7 hours of sleep. I wouldn't call it 7 hours actually in the covers or in the bed. I would say 7 hours of sleep. And so things begin to shift in the body, whether it be a hormone balance that begins to kick in, whether it be the balance of the serotonin, melatonin in the mind, whether it be has to do with tissue recovery. If you have a physical practice, hopefully each one of you do. It doesn't matter if you're straining yourself, lifting heavy in the gym or just doing your yoga in the yard on Saturdays. Either way, the body needs some time for repair. And this is, something that we do. If you put in a 24-hour time period, you spend 30% of your life sleeping. And so it's a vital, important part to your cognitive health, and to, more importantly, the balance of your system energetically, mentally, emotionally, and physically. I can't sit here and rattle off all the scientific benefits around what happens on each hour of sleep. I know there is some cosmic alignments around certain hours of the evening based on the circadian rhythm of the planet, have to do with repairing different organs. I know, if you are somebody who always wakes up between 2 and 3 o'clock, or always wakes up between 3 and 4 o'clock to go pee, or just all of a sudden you find yourself restless. There's certain hours, again, this is all theory, but there are certain hours that are attached to certain organs of the body that get repaired in that hour sequence. And so you can also look that up. Again, I can't go down the rabbit hole with you on it, but know that this information is out there. So if this invokes a level of curiosity around understanding that, there are many different professionals and certified people that have studied this their entire life to give you this wisdom and understanding. But again, there are also different things around your sleep, around if you were somebody who was born at nighttime. A lot of times, like, your deepest amount of sleep or your deepest dreaming points will be in that same moment that you actually came into existence, around your birth onto the planet. So many different factors. And Jason, who's going to be the dream master we talk with next month, isn't really going to talk about the time frame in the evening, but he might talk about like these elements of dream time, and it might correlate to something maybe you learn or study around how your body is shifting through the night of sleep. And so different things like hormone imbalance, or hormone balance, as well as your IG1, your natural growth hormone. Your body is repairing its thing. This belief around deterioration of age equals deterioration of physical body, like, is a belief system. It's not true. It's only happening because people believe that it's happening, right? Like, our belief, we've been talking about this for a while, like, biology belief can actually shift the way your cells operate in your system. There are many stories out there. I'll give you one of them, where this doctor, went into a different room. He read the chart of this man who he thought had some kind of like cancer and only had a couple months to live, and went into a different room, went into the wrong room, and told somebody who was just having a sinus cold that there was this diagnosis of this medical ailment with them, and they were looking terminal, and there's nothing more they could help them with. And that person who just had a sinus cold went home and actually, down to the T of the deadline that doctor gave them, died, even though after the autopsy there was nothing wrong with that person. And so, but because that person believed in it, right? They believed what the doctor had said beyond like their own intuitive sense around their body and how they are. And so based on what you believe, it can change. And so you're told that as your number rises on your driver's license, things in your body are going to deteriorate. And it's just not true. And I'm sorry, maybe it's hard for you to hear that, but it's not how it works. The toxins in your body, the food you eat, the crappy air we have to breathe sometimes, the chemical water you get from the faucet, like all of these elements that you're bringing into your system, like prescription drugs with toxins in them, like supplements that have fillers that are not good for your system to make it more fill, to make you more fill, like not good organic protein smoothies. I'm not saying it has to be organic, but the point is, like, these are the things that are contributing to deterioration of your body. Like, this system, human species, was born, like, produced, created to live hundreds of years. Like, I think the longest or the oldest human so far ever documented has been 800 years old. Like, before like this BC time, or before like the civilization we have now, there are records of people living to be 250, 400, 350. Like, the yogis like have lived to be this age for many times, and it's proven, it's out there. Not telling you anything new. So this system, based on having balance energetically, mentally, emotionally, and physically, and having balance with the minerals, like the planet Earth, like, we have an ability to activate those same minerals we used to get in our food, like when the soil wasn't so corrupted. Like, many of these things we can begin to like navigate, monitor, making sure you have the right senses of light, like implement that with red light, making sure the right sense of cold, like let your body adjust to some stress under cold temperatures. Like, all of these things can strengthen the entire system, right? That's the reason why I serve ozone. Ozone puts natural high potency oxygen back into the system and elevates it back into its most potent level. That's why we have these great breakthroughs in breath work, because you actually elevate like the oxygen to the system, where it's actually used to holding that level of oxygen in the system, and things begin to come back into balance. So you have these great awakenings, or these limitations that get released, like all of this stuff. So again, this all comes back to sleep. And so the sleep is the regulator of that, right? And so, yeah. So beyond just the head on the pillow and getting some Z's, like, there's importance And it is kind of like, it is the part of the equation that makes the equation work. And so that's the importance of sleep. And we can talk more on our call, but just want to give you the essence of that. And in the first 60, 90 minutes we wake up, there are things that are not online yet. Like our nervous system isn't fully online. We're still in that phase of like coming out of the natural DMT from our REM sleep or our dream state as we kind of awaken, right? And so we can capitalize on that, not to sound so capitalistic, but the point is like we can capitalize on that state of being. That's why we drop right into our practices. Like if you can roll out of bed and drop into your mat and meditate, if you can drop into your yoga practice or drop into your breath work, like as you come out of bed, like in that first 60 minutes compared to like do your practice in the afternoon or the evening. I do those as well, but the point is my morning practice seems to be like very potent. And so again, if your schedule doesn't permit that you can't practice first thing in the morning, great, you're not missing on anything, but just know it's potent. Like the Kundalini practice, right? We can do it anytime throughout the day or evening, but it's most potent between 4 and 6 in the morning. Because of that cosmic alignment where we are in the stars, but also because you're in that phase of like 1 foot in each dimensional phase because you're still coming out of that sleepy stage. So we can potentize our practices because we're still in that very clear stage. It's kind of like, coming, doing some meditation right out of ayahuasca, like you're still in that space, right? So it's important, but depending on your schedule, I understand if it can't work for you. But we are also in a certain stage on the level of chemicals, and not toxins, but the opposite of toxins, like certain things that are really beneficial for our system that are still being released. So it's important to really grasp that. And to also make sure you don't wake up in this erratic, I gotta go, turn the alarm off, get in the shower or whatever you do to like get yourself ready in the morning. It's important that you walk into the day, like whatever that is for you. You don't have to stroll, it doesn't have to be a 3-hour walk, but the point is that you really give yourself that space. Even though that extra 15 minutes might sound good to sleep or hit the snooze, or that extra half an hour and get up in a rush and get moving into work or whatever it is, like I understand, but that is going to be something that limits like your biological age. That's going to be something that limits like how you grow biologically. Like all these minor factors add up. Also, like having any kind of like stimulant in the first like 60 to 90 minutes as you wake up. Like if you like somebody who wakes up and goes and have coffee right away, like highly suggest not to do that. If you have anything in the morning, like let your nervous system come online first. Like let it naturally plug in. Like I come out of meditation and I feel like I am like tuned up. I feel like I just have 3 cups of coffee. And then when I maybe go work out like an hour or 2 later, I may be doing a little supplement or doing some green tea or like whatever it is. But this is not a knock on coffee because I have recommended for you to drink coffee in the morning for many reasons. But there's also making sure you have that window, right? So maybe in the beginning it's a little harder to get up 15 minutes earlier than you normally do, just so give yourself that time to walk in the day. But you'll find you'll feel more balanced in the process and more settled in all your actions and all your experiences. So, all right, again, we could talk more on the integration call this week. But love you all. Have a beautiful day. Mahalo.